Everyone, it's 4:30, it's Friday, and this is the Entrepreneur Drinks Podcast. We hope that everyone had a great week, so let's all have a beer or a cash flow cocktail and talk about business, being an entrepreneur, and making money. Hopefully we can help each other solve some problems and learn how to grow our businesses. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show and learn some things along the way. It's time to crack open a drink and get started. Let the conversation begin.
All right, we're live. Let me do our intro.
We're live now?
We're ready to go? Not live, but recording.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, everybody. We're here at Entrepreneur Drinks. We have a very special guest, Brian Underhill. He is, we're going to have a little discussion on what is a real entrepreneur. I would argue Brian's more of an entrepreneur than everybody else in this room. He doesn't take a full exit from his company, but he doesn't have to work day to day in it. And he has actually started a side business being an EOS consultant. We'll let him explain what that is. And Bob and I just hired him for our business. Maybe the DPI guys will hire him. He can knock out two birds with one stone when he comes to St. Louis. And I miss you guys. We haven't recorded in a while. Let's
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Cheers. It has been a while.
Welcome, Ryan.
Cheers, guys.
We're going to give our small audience, hopefully it'll grow, it'll be evergreen. Joe Fearless is good to cross market with us. I just got to get the copy. So we got to give him the copy. That was a complete interruption. Sorry, Brian.
No problem. Yeah, so you want me to talk a little bit about my history of what it is that I do now?
Whatever that Bud Select is telling you to talk about.
Yeah, an intro on your background, the type of entrepreneur you are in your business, and just kind of
a little bit of my story.
Pitch.
Yeah. So my story, a couple of guys that I met after college decided to start our own business, and it was a process engineering firm. And what it is that we do, the company's name is Azzur Group. We started out as BioSpec, underwent a merger about 3 years ago. But what BioSpec started out doing, myself and my two buddies, is to start providing process engineering services to biopharmaceutical manufacturers. So our clients became...
What is process engineering?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
So companies like Pfizer, Amgen, Allergan, Big Pharma put their processes in to make their drugs, to make their products in the manufacturing suites. They have to comply with FDA regulations in order to do that. When they make an injectable or something that is consumed by a patient, they have to comply with rigorous laws that tell the FDA that they're producing this drug in this way, they're manufacturing this drug this way, their process is done this way. So there's tons of documentation and tons of compliance baked into doing what it is they do. So a lot of times as big pharma companies, millions and millions and millions of dollars to do that. So they, instead of keeping that overhead on site, they outsource that to companies that take these projects on a project by project basis. So we'll go in there and bid on a project that has a purchase order, of however much it is, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 purchase order, and we'll come in and do that project. Well, the thing is that once you got your foot in the door with one of those organizations and you do well, you're exposed to more and more projects. And so your client base and your sustainability just grows over time if you're good doing what you do. So that's the kind of company that I co-founded with my partners years back. I want to say like 13 years ago. Through the course of growing that business, we went through several periods of hitting the ceiling like all entrepreneurs do. And we hit the ceiling hard many times in many different ways. I'd say about 3 years ago, we underwent a cashless merger with a company that was called Azzur Group. We dropped the name of BioSpec, brought the two companies together, and now at the helm of the organization, we're 7 managing partners to the business. We found ourselves in a position at around, 8 or 9 months after the merger, where we found the need to bring our organization together. We were hitting the ceiling in many different ways. We were all kind of fragmented. We had different vision for the organization. Our meetings were not on track and powerful.
Was there infighting?
There was some infighting. There was some issues with regards to just us getting across the finish line and getting on the same page with everything. So what we did, and we were exposed at the time to a system called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Guy came in, implementer, real good guy. He actually showed us what it would look like to run our business on a model, on an operating system. We implemented EOS at the organizational level, which is at the high level, and we started running our organization, trying to push down as best we could to the different practices. We had 5 different practices throughout the United States. It stuck really well in some practices it didn't stick really well, and we ran our organization based on that. At the top level, EOS, we kind of grew out of EOS, but EOS stuck really well in a couple practices. One in particular, which is California, which is where I put myself in the driver's seat, and then partially in the driver's seat for the entire organization. And we implemented EOS throughout the state of California, grew very rapidly, allowed us to gain a tremendous amount of empowerment throughout our organization, ownership, not from a sense of equity, but from a sense of really empowered to take the business to the next level, and grew the organization and ran our system now, our organization based on a system, which allowed me to sort of step back, slowly step back, and slowly step back, and to now where I'm not having to be there every day. And as a result of growing the organization, feeling that sense of empowerment, and running the business as a true entrepreneur, which is realizing I have the ability to do other things, that was all from EOS. Now what I did is I said, you know, what the heck am I going to do with my time? So I went to EOS boot camp and became certified, or trained, I should say, in actually taking these tools to other entrepreneurs. And so now what I do is I spend a lot of my time working with clients and training them with the same tools that allowed me in my business to punch through the ceiling and gain a tremendous amount of control in my business. And so that's what it is I do. I have clients now, and I do that, as well as I have one foot in the business, and I'm enjoying that from an income perspective that I've with my partners have built, and also enjoying growing this EOS practice.
So you see a bunch of entrepreneurs around the country.
Yes.
When do you think you go from being self-employed, and we have a very loose definition of entrepreneurs on this show.
Yeah.
Basically, we're all self-employed and we call ourselves entrepreneurs and have drinks. Where do you think the line is between self-employed and I'm a no-shit entrepreneur?
What do you think entrepreneur means? This is really interesting, because I have this discussion, and entrepreneurism means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Can you Google?
Yeah. So what is it? Without Googling, but without Googling it, what does it mean to you to be an entrepreneur? Because it might come up differently.
Yeah, I think the difference between self-employed and entrepreneur is that you own a business that you can lay in bed all day and nothing changes.
Or you can walk away and go on vacation
Yeah.
for 2-3 weeks, and the business is either baseline or improved by the time you get back. And you have
Yeah, but you don't need to be an
You're not
entrepreneur to do that. You can just be a CEO that doesn't work for everyone.
See, and I disagree, because when you
But
start,
but
but
CEO
CEO
is a W-2,
is
and
an
you
employee,
cannot
not
be a
business
W-2.
owner.
yeah, but when you start out as an entrepreneur, you can't do that.
But
I
you
mean,
can-
you can't just suddenly, oh, I have a business now, I can stop working and it's gonna run itself.
Agreed.
And you're still an entrepreneur.
Agreed,
I mean,
but there's
again,
a lot
on
of
day
people,
one.
I think, fool themselves into thinking that they're entrepreneurs or that they're building something sustainable, but in reality, they really aren't. Because I think as long as you have that end goal in mind, you can consider yourself on the entrepreneur track, but you're at least making that distinction versus a lot of people who are, you know, they're a dentist and they're gonna be, you know, pulling teeth or, you know, drilling holes like for the rest of their lives. You're never gonna be able to step away unless they implement those systems and start thinking from an
Agreed.
entrepreneurial
The
perspective.
system makes the
Right?
money, not the human being.
But the system, for me, the system is just the thing. The entrepreneur is what comes from inside you, right?
Yeah.
So for me, an entrepreneur is a person that creates value for him or herself, and if they can't create value, they don't get paid, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day,
But how does that, what about a lawyer? He has the same setup. He has to bill
Right.
hours or he doesn't get paid.
or he doesn't get paid
But I would not classify 80% to 90% of lawyers as entrepreneurs.
because of
They're self-employed, they own jobs.
they own their own business, right? They own their own practice. So let's take it from the sense of a lawyer starting his or her own business practice and putting him or herself out there to create value for himself. If he or she fails, or he or she succeeds, it's dependent upon him or her, right? And the ceiling's as high as they want to take it, right? They have none, right?
But isn't there ceiling how much one human being can do in 24 hours? like surgeons, it's the same deal. I don't think surgeons are entrepreneurs because they have 10 fingers and 10 toes, and they have 24 hours in a day, and they'll never expand past it.
What's your brother's name?
My brother,
Cream.
Yeah.
Timmy the Cream Vreeland.
Cream.
Yeah, I would
Fuck you,
not,
Timmy.
Yeah, I would not consider you. He does listen, so yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I would argue I would argue they are an entrepreneur. It's just that they have a rate limiting step that they have to overcome. And if they can figure out how to systemize their organization to take them and punch through that ceiling, they're just an entrepreneur that tapped into something that allowed them to generate more value for themselves. But they're still an entrepreneur, right? They're still got skin in the game.
Yeah.
If they can't generate a revenue, they're not getting paid. They're only going to be able to put food on the plate based upon whether or not they can actually generate money.
They have to eat what they kill.
They have to eat what they kill. Whereas as an employee, they don't have to worry about that. They just eat, right? But they're right?
Yeah.
And they're going to obviously get fired or stay with the organization based upon how well they do. But sometimes they slip through the cracks, right?
Yeah.
And they still eat. But a true entrepreneur doesn't eat unless they kill, right?
So basically your
Well, wait,
definition is somebody who crosses like the risk line.
Yeah.
And is no longer trading hours for dollars.
And that's
where that.
That to me is yes, and to me, in a sense, a lawyer is that. You know, and it's not glamorous. You're not like, oh, you're an entrepreneur, in its truest, pristine sense, the way we look at entrepreneurs. You know, they're not going to be on the poster board of the Entrepreneur of the Year, but they're truly generating. They have skin in the game. If they can't have a client, they're not going to get paid. They have a cap, but that true law attorney, because I work with a couple, and I met this attorney who wants to systematize his organization and take his organization to the next level. His ability to do that just
But now he's systematizing.
So when he was a solo lawyer and he was still working, and he was making $30,000 a year, and he was getting beat up by his wife at home because he's not bringing in the money to keep the lights on. He's an entrepreneur. He just wasn't doing well. But
What about this? When I worked in medical sales, I was a W-2, and I was commission only, so I ate what I killed. But there were maybe some entrepreneurial aspects, but I was definitely not an entrepreneur, and I was definitely not taxed like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you had the umbrella around you of this organization that kept you back, and that also managed.
Well, they did the marketing side of the business for you too.
Yeah.
So I think a lawyer or a doctor's a little bit different because they have to market and get clients.
So
Like they don't have.
But do you think there should be a different word with somebody like you, where you don't have to be there every day?
Because you're saying pretty much it's just like, hey, it's cool to say you're an entrepreneur. Like, the entrepreneur is like the new cool, like, that's what I want to be, even if I'm not.
And you're almost, so at a mastermind we go to, Jason Medley, he leads it.
Yeah.
And he sold us on EOS because he's like, look, you know, and Jason has a great business.
Yeah.
But he's like, look, even I don't consider myself a full-fledged entrepreneur.
Right.
Because everything's not systematized for me, and I'm still running the business.
I thought we sold you on EOS.
No, Jason did. You guys helped.
Oh no.
You,
I think
no,
we
we'd already talked
did.
about it.
We were the final push.
I don't know about that.
You're welcome, by
Like,
the
do you
way.
remember when Jason said that to us?
Yeah.
You definitely were you guys probably were the final push.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think I'm articulating exactly what Jason said, but.
But wouldn't you say that makes him? He's still an entrepreneur. He's just.
Well, he said there's a difference between self-employed and being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And and I kind of agree with him, you have to have systems in place and the business has to run itself.
But that just makes him a better entrepreneur. When I started the company, we had no systems in place, but we were the rate limiting step to the company, as I was mentioning in the car.
And what's rate limiting step?
So we couldn't grow beyond the people because we were holding the organization back in many different ways. And I see this all the time because everything has to go through the leadership team, right?
The audience likes to hear the drinks being poured.
Yeah, and the drinks being drank, right?
Right.
But they're not any different. They're still an entrepreneur. It's just that they haven't figured out how to crack that nut.
Yeah.
And in some companies, they can do that on their own. They're just really good at it. Some companies run their system based on an operating system that has been proven.
So maybe you're more an entrepreneur at that inception moment when you think of the business.
I think you're an entrepreneur. You have the entrepreneurial spirit if you want to take the lead. But you're going to be a successful entrepreneur when you can actually start using that to putting money on the table. You're not an employee. In my opinion, there's two different. You're either going to go the employee route, right, or you're going to be go the entrepreneur route, right? If you're going the entrepreneur route, you eat what you kill. So you got to kill to stay alive, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't kill, you don't eat, right? That's an entrepreneur. Some entrepreneurs can kill much better because they've systemized their organization and they just kill like crazy and they eat in huge. Some entrepreneurs just stop because they haven't figured out how to punch through that ceiling, right? The beauty of EOS is that it gives you the tools to actually punch through that ceiling, gain better control of it. But they're still an entrepreneur. They're just not great at it.
See, I think, isn't it Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of his things, which is like the self-employed.
Cash flow quadrant.
Yeah, the cash flow quadrants, and then business owner. So I think that's kind of the difference in your.
Employee, small business, business investor.
Well, I think that's what Jimmy's trying to distinguish. Like some entrepreneurs, he's calling them more of self-employed, and then some business owners or entrepreneurs are. Yeah, some entrepreneurs are.
So here's a Google
owners.
definition of entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so.
Cool, look up drinks.
So they eat what they kill, right? That's basically,
Right.
in essence, that's what it is. It's any business owner that's willing to take on that risk.
It's when I think of true entrepreneur, I think of somebody that has multiple streams of income. That's just, it's happening. Like if you're the ideal version, like you said, it's just like it's happening.
So you're
Multiple
equating
things are just
success
coming.
to entrepreneur.
Well, let's.
Which is not the definition.
Let's
of
talk about
entrepreneur.
my dick
There's a lot of
brother.
entrepreneurs out there that are fucking in debt and failing.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah.
Well, I'll interject from a comment from my dick brother. I'll speak as if he was but he's just like, just because you don't have a job doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur. It just means you're lazy. And so, he's the dick, but he is.
Yeah,
getting,
you have to.
He
You
is
have to
getting at,
run
like I
a
watch
business
Gary Vee, and
in order to be an entrepreneur. If you don't have a job, you are not an entrepreneur. You have to run a business.
Yeah.
And the definition of business is the act of making money. So your business has to be engaging in the producing revenue. Then it'll be
Producing
profitable.
revenue or profit?
In the beginning, it could be
Because if it's
producing-
profit, that just eliminates Uber.
Amazon too in the first 9 years of their business.
So
But
it
if
has
it's
to be
still a
revenue.
business, I'd say revenue. For
Yeah.
sure.
I agree with that.
So they're still an entrepreneur. They're just not doing well at it. They're just
Not doing well at profiting.
right.
Yeah. Well, people that don't have a job aren't because they're not engaging in the act of business.
So you got a kid who's actually
Then you're a visionary.
selling candy at his high school.
But that's not the same thing as somebody that doesn't have a job. Because he's created himself a job.
He's created.
He is the owner of his job.
Yeah.
If you sit on the couch all day and play video games, you're not acting in
Yeah, but it's still self-employed.
unless you are, what's that service called where you can get paid?
I
to
think
do
it's called
that
unemployed.
shit?
Where you play video games?
Yeah. You get paid.
That's where you get those government
Yeah,
checks.
there's people that are making
Jimmy, like-
tons of cash doing
What am I
that.
doing working here?
Yeah. But I guess I'm just agreeing with what you're saying.
See, I just
can't.
I think they're
You
both.
disagree with me completely?
Yeah, I think they're both entrepreneurs. I think your brother's an entrepreneur, or will be when he actually
If
starts.
he has a private practice.
Hey, my brother's a government employee. He's the last thing from an entrepreneur.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he can't. Well, that's wrong though because he's a real estate investor.
He is.
So part-time
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Let's
My
call it
brother's
that.
a surgeon in the Army, and he takes all his excess cash and buys houses in St. Louis.
Okay.
So, I
So
just
do
wanted to
you
get
think there's a difference
I
between an
wanted to get
investor
that
and an
big in.
entrepreneur then? Jimmy?
What's that?
Do you think there's a difference between an investor and an entrepreneur, that those are
Yeah.
two completely different things?
Yeah. Don't you?
I do.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, 100%.
An investor is just somebody who puts
Trust
cash into
Jack.
something and expects a return.
So what about like angel investors? Like you just go and invest in businesses and buy businesses.
That's a tough question.
I mean, fine line, right?
Well, no,
Yeah.
because they're taking on risks that are higher than the average job, and they're operating and/or business or businesses. So I would 100% say that they're entrepreneurs.
Potato.
Even if they're just shrugging
potato.
checks.
6 one way.
I think
half a
I
dozen
think
the
an
other.
entrepreneur means that they're adding some type of intellectual capital as well on top of just a check.
Right.
A pure investor is just money goes out, money comes back. There's
Right.
nothing else added.
But I think this is a great conversation too, because there are a ton of different definitions of entrepreneurship.
But is anybody else getting sick of like Facebook and everything? Like every asshole's an entrepreneur now. just because they
Oh
don't
yeah,
have a
the
job.
sponsored posts on there are out of control at this
Has
point.
that started to annoy you
Only
yet,
we get
Brian?
those because
Maybe.
we're on, no, not
Maybe.
no.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're right,
They're
because we're
targeted.
entrepreneurs.
Because we're
right.
entrepreneurs, no, that's
Right.
We
that's
say the same
us.
thing about
That's
real
true.
estate investors.
Look at
Do you
any
believe
of-
Somebody
everybody
that
real
works
estate
something straight at
investor?
Walmart,
Yeah.
they're not getting those
No,
ads.
You have to-
That's true.
But the threshold, not every real estate investor is an entrepreneur. They're just investors.
Right, but do you consider somebody that wholesales real estate? Do you consider them
Come on
an
in, Bill,
investor?
sit the captain's chair.
Ask Bill that, because he's not a wholesaler.
I don't like wholesaling, gentlemen. I like to buy and sell and keep some stuff for myself on occasion.
There we go. Brian, Bill.
Yeah, we met.
Good to see you again.
Well, I just think it's interesting. I mean, because if people say that, everybody says like, I would say, okay, I'm a real estate investor. I mean, is that a true statement? Because I know people don't like the word.
I
wholesaler,
think real estate
so-
entrepreneur is a more valid term than real estate investor.
Yeah, you
Because
know-
most people who are real estate investors are not investing any of their own cash. They're doing creative stuff like we are.
Are you guys weighing in on, what are we talking about, this investing in
The
general?
difference between self-employed and being an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And being an investor.
Brian has a very low threshold for it. I'd say I have a little higher one. Where do you stand on this, Bob? Mike and
Probably somewhere
Brian are
between the
aligned.
two.
Yeah.
I think
Dave?
I'm a little more.
What's
weighted
that?
towards you.
Where are you at on this argument?
As far as being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Difference between self-employed, is every self-employed person an entrepreneur?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me, can I ask?
Brian?
Self-employed, yeah, I would say so. I mean,
Okay.
if they're self-employed, they're operating a business and the business is generating revenue.
I would say no, for me personally, because, I'm just jumping in here, sorry guys. Are we on,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
live. We're not live.
Oh,
But we're being
We are
recorded, we're being
recorded,
recorded though.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So here's my point.
Wait, you need a drink if you're gonna
We're
talk.
always being
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah.
so it
That's
doesn't
what I'm saying.
matter.
You take the Bud Light.
Seriously, you can just assume if you're in this room, it's being
Hey
recorded.
guys,
at that
just to
point.
prove that it's real, you guys heard that? Live here. Okay, so here's my view. Entrepreneur for me is multiple streams of income. So
See, that's what Ryan said,
Exactly what I
but
said.
not every entrepreneur
I
has
know,
multiple streams
but
of
for
income.
me personally-
And you're equating success to the word entrepreneur. There's tons of failing
Yeah.
entrepreneurs.
Part of the game.
So I'm not arguing with you, I just disagree.
Yeah, for me personally.
So then you can say it's a successful entrepreneur. I say successful entrepreneur.
Okay,
is
add
multiple
that word
streams.
in there,
Right,
that's
Yeah,
just-
yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally, yeah.
and here's why, because even if you have one business and you're a good entrepreneur, you're gonna take that cash, and what are you gonna do with it? Invest in stocks, do other things, so you're gonna
Not
have
to pay
multiple.
taxes.
See, now I disagree with that completely.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with it.
But
You
here's-
can, so like EOS, as we were in our meeting today, what did you basically say to us? Like, what were you talking about with the traction? You just put your head down and you go and you do your one thing. You're very good.
Yeah.
What were you saying in the meeting?
With regards to what?
To avoiding shiny object syndrome.
Oh, like staying
Focus.
in your core focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many organizations fall out of their core focus.
Yeah, Brian, will you give us kind of just an EOS or traction overview? Because I think that's part of the reason Jimmy had mentioned that people are interested, want to know more about it.
He's,
Can you give
he's
us
an
a-
EOS coach.
Oh, you didn't tell me that?
So Bill,
Well, you were late to the game.
Bill handled the EOS
We can't redo the whole
coaching
show just for you.
for us for the most
Yeah,
part.
sorry,
We did
but
our
we,
retreat.
I really bought into that big time in terms of,
Traction.
starting this business.
Did you?
We used EOS and Traction for our strategic 1, 3, and 5-year plans.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Now, we have 4 people, so we hopefully will all stay in our own lanes. We have 4 major rocks, different rocks for each of us.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what allowed us to punch through our organization in many different levels.
Yeah, I really like it, and it seems to be helping us quite a bit.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
You guys should hire Brian. Brian, you should charge them double and they'll cover
Yeah,
it.
and then you gotta cut a spiff, that's one of the
Yeah.
entrepreneurial moves there.
That's making deals.
True entrepreneur right there.
So what? So speaking from you actually raised something interesting. So and it boils things down to a simplest sense. What is a good entrepreneur, or what makes a bad entrepreneur? I don't think, in my opinion, a good entrepreneur. I think the picture that you're painting is more of an entrepreneur that has vision. An entrepreneur that is a visionary, right? The entrepreneur that knows how and can use that revenue stream to make and generate more, right? I think a poor entrepreneur is still an entrepreneur in its simplest sense. They eat what they kill, and if they don't kill anything, they're not going to eat. They're willing to take and have that spirit to put themselves out there and take that risk, and if they don't generate money, they're not going to eat, as opposed to an employee that's just going to go the secure route and live that life. When you fall in becoming an entrepreneur and say, okay, I'm going to live the life of risk and eat what I kill, now you have to start thinking about, are you going to be a good one or are you going to be a bad one? Well, you can be a good one by just naturally being good. and knowing how to run a business. But like most of us, we just don't know, right? And what EOS has done is actually create a path or a journey of how to actually do that and to become a good entrepreneur with tools that actually work. And in some cases, people just become visionaries and are good at that and know how to live.
Can you explain the difference for everybody between visionary and implementer?
A visionary and integrator, yeah. So if a lot of times organizations have two leaders within the organization or multiple leaders within the organization, it's really important to find and crystallize what role exists within your organization, and then start putting the right people in the right seats based upon the roles that are going to take you to the next phase. And a lot of organizations have a visionary seat, in place within that organization. And if they have a visionary with an integrator, 50% of the organizations do have a visionary, right? And when they do have that visionary in place, that's the person that has, as I was mentioning today, with 100 ideas, right? One of them's good, right? The visionary is that person, and you'll know when you see it, because they're amazing with culture. For whatever reason, they're a good people person, right? And they could see the forest through the trees when it comes to solving problems. For whatever reason, visionaries, real good visionaries, are amazing problem solvers. They don't get caught up in the weeds, and they can see the forest through the weeds really well.
So what is it in the traction book? Like Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, Steve Jobs is an amazing visionary.
Ray Kroc had somebody, Henry Ford had somebody, but no one really talks about the implementer. The visionary is generally the face of the company, right?
Visionary is typically the face of the organization.
So
Integrator is more
He's
the
an implementer.
the COO type, chief operating operations.
All right, so the integrator was whoever those guys had.
Yeah,
Like, that don't get named.
the most famous
The
example is Steve
Right.
Wozniak.
They're the behind the scenes guys.
But you need both. You can't succeed properly.
Right.
You can't excel, to get your maximum benefits without one of each. We probably have, in our little company, we probably have kind of 2 and 2. We're all kind of. I'm not a real good implementer for sure, so I'm definitely not the integrator, but we all have some degree of vision. But these guys are much better on being the integrators.
Yeah, I have some clients where some organizations don't have a visionary seat. All organizations have vision, right? All organizations have to take their company to the next level. They don't have necessarily a visionary. That person that I just painted a picture for, that real good problem solver, great with culture, just pushing down the throat of the organization ideas all the time. A real good problem solver. But when you do have one, you'll know when you see it. The key, though, is to really delineate the two, because they could be stepping on each other's feet a lot. And it's really important to delineate between the visionary and the integrator, because they couldn't be more different. And crystallizing the roles that they're responsible for.
Do you think there's a natural tension between?
There is. Yeah.
It could be a healthy one, or it could be completely destructive.
Yeah, it's just the thing. It just comes up. And if you don't really delineate between those two, you have the visionary sometimes doing the integrator stuff, and the integrator trying to do the visionary. But when we're in a room like this locked up and you crystallize the roles for the organization, once you delineate that, then you know who is going to be responsible for what and taking the organization to the next level. And you get this organization now becomes transparent and healthy, where the visionary and integrators stop stepping on each other's feet. Because what wasn't visionary function? What was the person? So I have a client who actually makes it he's a visionary, makes it his role to go out there and talk to employees, get a beat on the employees, talk to his customers, get customer feedback right. And the integrator was kind of doing that as well. Well, what happened is you sort of separate that out. Now it's the visionary's role to just do that. The integrator's role is to be the weeds, to make sure all the arms of the organization are communicating and running effectively. The visionary doesn't do that. If you put a visionary in that role, like I said in the meeting, you get this spike for about 90 days of the organization. But then things just die, because the visionary gets bored really quickly. A true visionary is they just get bored quickly, and they don't work well in the integrator seat. So it's really important to separate those two if you have it. Like I say, not all organizations have a visionary seat. They all have vision, but they don't have a visionary seat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really huge, really cool.
Do you tie in anything like personality assessments and stuff in that to like a DISC assessment? I don't know if you're familiar with that. Do you see that a specific type of person is usually the visionary with the specific character traits?
Yeah.
Kind of comparatively to the DISC, like Do you find that?
We actually use a tool in EOS, and we implement this throughout the part of the journey called the Colby.
Colby.
Colby's huge,
Yeah.
and a Colby allows you to really, as a team, understand where you are at several fronts. Are you a high fact finder? Are you a quick starter? And it quantifies that. So when I'm working within my team, it allows me to come to the table and know in advance, look, I'm just going to have to slow down because Jimmy's a high fact finder and I'm a quick starter. And I'm just going to have to be patient with that. And if I know that going into a project and working with Jimmy, I know that he's just going to get caught with that, and that's okay. But the Colby's a very, very powerful cognitive tool that allows you, and interestingly, Colby's a tool that those character traits have been with you since you've been 5 and will be with you forever. They don't change.
Have you taken it?
I've taken the Colby, I've taken a disc assessment, and I found that my disc has
Is that the Tony
shifted.
Robbins one?
Yeah, my disc has shifted. I used to be very like cautious, and since I
Colby's
when I come
incredible.
call it an entrepreneur, but I made a shift.
So
towards,
here's the issue.
Can I real quick ask
Please.
Brian's Colby? What's your Colby?
Oh, God, you got me on the spot now. I'm like, so just at a high level, I'm a quick start. I'm about a 7 quick start.
Okay.
Fact finding, I'm about 3.
Oh,
Just
really?
like-
I would have thought you were
Yeah.
a very high fact finder. That's interesting.
No, I'm not a high fact finder. I kind of tend to make decisions pretty quickly and getting on a plane and just going out there and doing stuff. I'm not that high of a fact finder.
And that's how you ended up here meeting these jokers, right?
Yeah, all right.
I don't think so.
Aren't you, we finally found a guest we didn't meet in a chat room. We met
Oh,
a
that's
strategic coach
hilarious.
like probably a month ago.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. If I haven't talked to a real live traction coach. I just picked it up from a referral.
Oh, yeah?
We just did the deep dive and implemented it ourselves.
Oh, you did? That's great.
Yeah, and so it's good to know that stuff actually works. We feel like it's helping.
That's great. Yeah, I decided to just jump into it, go to boot camp, get trained, and do it. I just love it. There's nothing better than getting.
So why do you like this gig more than being at the company you created?
I wouldn't say I like it more. I like it a lot differently.
Okay.
Right? And there's nothing better than understanding an organization and getting high fives when I help them break through the ceiling. I was just with a business in Oakland, and you get hugs, right? You get people looking in your eyes, shaking your hands, and just say thank you. I'm seeing clarity, organizational clarity, where I never saw it before. And we're a 25-year-old organization, and we're seeing clarity for the first time, right? And now we're able to actually predict. And there's prediction in its truest sense, like holding a crystal ball. There's nothing much better than actually having a crystal ball. And with EOS, you literally get that good at predicting. When you live in this 90-day world and you crystallize your vision, everyone's rowing in the same direction. Using those tools, you get a phenomenal level of prediction. And who else would want to own a business and run a business that you can actually make predictions by? And that's what EOS is. It creates accountability, transparency, and the tools that allow you to predict and gain traction on that. And so when you're in a conference room and you're working with an organization over time and they shake your hand and just say, hey, this is awesome. I know I'm getting excited about it, but that's why I like it so much. Is I'm getting to see what other businesses have struggled with, and I wasn't unique. I didn't struggle with anything unique, whereas I thought we were unique. But I've dealt with the same people issues that my clients deal with. I dealt with the same vision issues, right?
So, what size companies do you work with? Typically, so you're out consulting. What's a good size company to, from the smallest number of employees to kind of largest that the EOS model works in and works best with?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. There's one sweet spot and there's one must-have. And to answer your question, the sweet spot is our EOS clients are anywhere from 10 to 250 employees. Now that being said, there are companies that have clients less than 10. I've got a couple clients that are less than 10 employees, and it works extremely well. But that's the sweet spot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what about the must-have?
Must-have, you gotta want it. You gotta be hungry. You gotta really want it, because if you don't, you're dragging them in through the journey, and they just don't want it, and that's okay. And it's not a fit for everybody, So, yeah.
So the only thing that I kind of have I shouldn't say problem with, that's the wrong verbiage, but like roadblock or hiccup, I guess would be better to say, with the Colby test.
Yeah.
And all these personality type tests is the information that they put out is great.
Yeah.
But I feel like people take the test, they look at the results for 5 seconds, and they move on. And they don't actually implement any of that data.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like also, like I've worked with Mike for a year now, I've worked with Bill for a year now. I know their personalities, and I'm sure if we all took a test, it would tell me a lot of the things that I probably already know about these individuals. So maybe if you're going into a venture, or you're hiring somebody new, with a new person, that test would be a lot more beneficial to individuals that already know each other. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Colby's great for hiring.
You know,
So
hiring is probably great, but how?
I think it's also.
How is it great?
Well, like for a real quick example as it relates to real estate industry, somebody who is low quick start should not be an acquisitionist or an acquisition manager. You have to go out and like take action and like get a deal started, right? To be an action maker, right? So someone who's going to be low quick start, if you're hiring that position and you have them take the Colby and you see that's what their profile is, you say, sorry, you're not going to be a good fit.
Don't fit our.
Yeah, but somebody who's going to be like an operations manager or oversee rehabs, you want high follow through. You want a detail-oriented person, you know, checklists and everything else.
Great point. Yeah.
You know, so that's some of the things you can do and understand about, like, you know, when you're hiring. But for example, you know everybody doesn't.
And also, we worked together for a year before we took the test, and like, I would say it helped our relationship.
It definitely did. But you're right. I knew Jimmy, and he was like, oh,
yeah,
what's
so
my
one of the
Colby? I
things that
told
you're
him,
reading,
you're all this, and you're nothing
that's
else.
probably
That's
what
it
happens.
is.
See, it's kind of like a third party comes in and tells you, like, marriage counseling or whatever. Like, you can tell your wife the same thing 1,000 times, she may not listen, but if a third party comes in and says it, they're going to take it to heart a lot more. So that Colby, I think, is that third party. So in a relationship with people that you know, it's kind of like, hey, you're not going to be good at that. The Colby's going to be like, oh yeah, maybe I'm not good at that.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's
Like
That's
the Colby
great. I
explained
didn't
my
see those-
entire army
those
career to me.
aspects.
Like, I'm very low fact finder and very low follow through, so that's like why I wouldn't shine my shoes. I wouldn't do like basic shit you're supposed to do. But I'm a 10 quick start, so if they had a fun new idea for me to go do, I'm in.
You were jumping off that plane.
Yeah, dumb and stupid. That was my.
He was the guy coming up with new ideas to do something on.
So like when I saw that result, I was like,
Just shoot
oh,
it
I'm
down,
not a
right?
piece of shit. This is just the way. I had some lingering army guilt for not shining shoes.
And sleeping on top of your covers, and you say some shit like that?
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have to make your bed.
But I think that's interesting that those kind of tests are not strictly mandatory in like elementary or middle school or high school. You know, I'm just thinking.
There's no entrepreneurs there.
Yeah, I get it. But just
training you to be an
look at,
employee.
I'm not familiar with the Colby, but I'm familiar with DISC, and I took the DISC and I found out so much about myself and figured out what I'm good at and quit focusing on everything that I was bad at and found people to surround myself that were, you know, kind of my weaknesses were kind of supporting that and made me just a better person in general. And so I just think that that's really interesting that we don't push more people to do those type of things just so they can not get stuck 40 years working at the same company and wonder why they don't, you know, like you said, like wonder why they don't shine their shoes, but that's just not what you're good at. That's not your thing. You know, you're good at other things.
It'd probably be too scary, to be honest with you. Like if you were in a job and your results came back like, oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, there's some serious life things to start looking at.
Have you done the Colby on your spouse, your wife?
Yeah, my wife has the same as Bob. I don't know if that is.
Well, so if she ever leaves you, you got
I'm more visionary.
See, you guys are both more visionary.
And that's why we really feel like we need to hire EOS because we're
We're
not
both
gonna-
visionaries.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
coming up
Yeah.
with ideas.
We kind of got lucky. We didn't know about
Stalls
labels when we started, but we kind of have a good mix, I think, with our guys. You know,
He's like integrator supreme, right?
he's like, forget
Yeah.
it. He's the glue. You know, me and Dave are we're probably like a 10 on it, a 1 out of 10 on 10 on just like shiny objects and different projects. But we
Threw you right under the bus, didn't he?
we do have some good ideas though. So, but you know, but that's kind of weird though, because in some ways we're also good integrators. Like if we have a passion for something, like Dave's super detailed on integration for the coaching program, right? And the technology, that was a bonus. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of like a visionary guy, but when it comes to programs that are my passion, I got all the details nailed.
Right.
So it's like, you need kind of a little cross-section, but
Yeah,
I
but
always say-
passion has a lot to do with everything now.
Yeah, do
He's
your
a visionary,
passion.
he thinks he's got the details nailed, they're not even close to
Well,
nailed.
yeah, for me, details like, still about.
Let's check the Podio notifications. We'll
I
check
break
about
that
that.
down to like 3 pages, 25 bullet points or something like that.
What's old Ray?
Big Ray, oh boy, the Rhino. I'd say I think he's more of an integrator, really, because he's good at a lot of details.
I think so too, you guys butt heads a lot too.
Yeah, we do butt heads on.
He's gonna like the
Yeah, he's more detailed oriented, and I'm like, okay, you're way ahead, let's just, let's agree on this here first. It's a 3-year plan, but,
We should definitely do the personality thing, I think it'd be good for
yeah,
us.
is that part of, that's not part of traction there, is it?
No, it's Kathy Colby actually
Oh,
created the tool, and so it's a separate company, but
Okay.
EOS uses the tool.
Do you make it a prereq with the people you work with?
It's a tool in the toolbox that throughout the journey we'll pull it out and use it as a tool. So there's the foundational tools, the ones that I was showing you today, that correspond to the 6 key components, and then there's additional tools that we'll bring in and add to your portfolio, and one of those is the Colby. Yeah.
So like, how big do you want to grow your consulting?
Me personally,
Yeah.
my U.S. practice?
Yeah.
That's a really interesting question, because I want to manage my life, and so I want to get to about 20 clients and stay there. I got right now 7
Okay.
clients, and anything more than 20, I don't think right now I don't think I need it. I want to be able to do other stuff. I've always wanted to be able to do other stuff. And anything more than 20, like 30 or 40 clients, you just can't do other stuff. This is what you're doing full time.
Yeah.
And I love it, but I also want to do other stuff, right?
I mean, like you said today, the downside of your gig is, you're from California and you're coming to St. Louis, like a lot of travel.
Yeah. You know what's interesting with, and maybe you can help me think through this.
This is what we do in Entrepreneur Drinks. You get a light buzz, you come with problems, and then we knock them out.
Right.
Well, help me knock out this problem. So EOS, and people are trying to crack this nut. I'm a solo entrepreneur, if you will, from my EOS perspective. But how do you build an EOS practice with other employees? How do you do it?
You mean, how do you make it scale?
How do you scale it to add people around you? I mean, so I have an assistant.
You're gonna have to, your first one is the 90-minute meetings, like you has to be the virtual, or you send somebody else?
Well, I do so I do the 90, or I could send somebody else. That doesn't mean it. But so let's role play. Let's say I send somebody else to do Let's say I did the 90, and I said, okay, I did the 90. We have chemistry, because that's the whole point of the 90. It's all the same. It's chemistry, my rate, and at the end of the day, you want to work together. You want to book a first session, and then I say, okay, cool. You're going to work with somebody else. I'm going to send him or her to you. What's the first thing that comes up?
Well, I think there could be a tiered pricing structure.
Yeah.
You are the premium level, like to work with you is X. To work with one of your associates who is still overseen by you is maybe 50% of X or 60 or 70% of X.
But how would that make you feel, though? Let's say I did that. Would you feel bait and switch?
I don't think
I
you
would
need
feel
to
first
rely-
because I would still have the option to work
Yeah.
with you.
Right, you just
but I
gotta
could
pay
also
more.
discount
You just gotta
the
pay,
First and
right.
foremost, I think we need to understand the business itself. So, are you did you pay for a license to be a coach?
No, that's a great question. I didn't pay for lights. What you do, if you want to be an implementer, you have,
To be certified, right?
You go through boot camp.
Okay.
So I enroll in boot camp, and I go to Detroit, and I spend 3 days, rigorous boot camp, and then I meet, and I graduate from boot camp, assuming I graduate, and now I go and take EOS to the world, as long as I meet the criteria, which
Right.
is number of clients, number of sessions.
Now, is there any sort of there's no franchising, anything like that? No fees that go back, it's just a one-time certification?
certification?
So they don't have any rules on how you can run your business necessarily?
The only rules, they have some, one of them, there's like some trademark rules that you want, that you have to comply by. And in order to maintain status and being recognized as a professional implementer and a certified implementer, you have to meet some criteria. But other than that, if you fall out of meeting that criteria, you're no longer considered by the community as a professional or certified implementer.
Got it.
But other than that, there's no franchise fees, there's nothing like that. And so from a scalable perspective, adding people to my business That's fine.
Why don't you change the name of the business to group, like add that on the end,
Yeah.
to where you have like a group of people,
Yeah.
and then like you guys said, have it where you have tiered pricing. So you
Dave
get one of
and
our
I
group members
are happy
or
to help
can
you
get me.
build a course online.
That's right.
We are building courses like crazy right now.
Yeah. So let me ask, so.
You could have done the day as a course, as a webinar. You didn't need, I was glad to see you
Yeah.
again and hang out.
Yeah.
But you did not need to fly to California.
No, and I do those virtual a lot too.
Yeah.
I'll have a company, where is the ad? That's coming up, and I'm doing the 90 for them. They're out of state somewhere, and I'll do the 90 virtually.
Yeah.
Because it works, right? It's better obviously in person. But then, so like, okay, so now I go, okay, now you are going to get Joe Blow, and Joe Blow is going to come and implement with you, and he or she is this rate. And you see his resume, and you see his experience, and you're okay with that. Let's say you're okay with that. Why wouldn't Joe Blow go out on his or her own, and what would prevent
You
them?
need to do a Colby or some side of, make sure he's not really that entrepreneurial, probably.
That and or you have other pieces like marketing and
That's the
systems
thing.
and processes and back end that he just can't possibly tap into.
Yeah,
Or also the sales process. So your 90 minute, you're
So if
closing,
if they're
right?
gonna be doing the consulting, they need to be certified as well, right?
No, they don't. Some people are rogue implementers that aren't part of the community. They're just following the process. All those tools that are in EOS are free and downloadable. You can
That's Bill, he's a rogue implementer right
I've
there.
already
Yeah,
thought
he's
about
a
that.
rogue
Listen,
implementer.
I have a.
So here's one thing
version
that you
of
could do. You could create the group, like I had mentioned.
Yeah.
Make them sign a non-compete for 2-3 years, and then pay for them to go become certified. And make it to where all
He
the
just
leads
said-
that come in
He just
are
said
gonna
they
go
don't-
through your phone.
They don't need to be certified though. You
But
just
if
said
they
that.
are certified, then you don't
You're gonna have to offer.
then you don't have a
Joe
reason to
Blow
have
something he
tiered,
can't get.
tiered pricing. You're gonna get an EOS certified individual.
See, I still think you go out and you sell it. You do the 90 minute, you figure it out, and then you have fulfillment people. I mean, it's kind of like the Fortune Builders program. So they've got the people in the room, they get the free seminar, they
Yeah,
fill
those
it
people's
up.
jobs are sales.
It's just
And
to
they have
sell it.
another group of people that their job is to fulfill.
Then you've got
And then at the end of
people.
those fulfillments, they have another job, people that come in and sell again.
Yeah.
And it never stops.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
again,
it's
I think you do the belly to belly for 90 minutes or webinar, like web-based.
Yeah.
Meet with people, assess the company, and then
Yeah.
say, here's the fulfillment side, which is this guy. He's gonna help you guys, whatever. I mean,
Or you just,
You're
why,
just the overseer.
why couldn't you raise your prices and just keep it at 20? So you get it to 20 and 21, to get 20, for 20, customer 21 to get on your team,
Yeah.
it's a 25% markup.
Yeah, you gotta make it worth your while.
Or
Okay.
Well, I guess,
Why would
I guess
you
I
do
don't
it?
understand the complete business though. So like when we did it, we did a 2-day weekend event
You
at the
did?
lake,
Yeah.
which is about 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we took a vacation necessarily, we just weren't in our town.
Yeah.
2 days, we spent about 7 or 8 hours each day.
By the way, when you're really solving problems, you probably need a beverage. How are you doing on that beer?
I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it.
Working through
You
it.
want a beer or you want
But
a
is-
margarita?
I guess the question is there additional
We'll get a margarita.
support that you're providing to these clients, or is it just a weekend?
So that's,
Because if it's just a weekend,
Well,
why
we're-
would it matter if you
here's
had
the deal, we're a new
20
business.
people in queue or
Most-
not?
Most people are maybe broken businesses, right, not versus new businesses. Because we were a new business, so we didn't have a lot of, we didn't have to reverse a lot of stuff, we just had to figure out our plan, which is probably easier than if you try to fix a broken company.
Implementing mid.
Yeah, because most companies don't have the right people in the visionary or the integrator seat, I'm guessing. They think they do, but they're really not, right?
Yeah, that comes down to focus day.
And those that's why I say the focus day, that, from what I remember from
Have
the
you ever just
video.
say like you kind of suck?
Because guys, these guys are big ego guys that they're heads of these companies, and some of them are really boneheads. They won't change.
Boneheads and big egos.
You know what I'm saying? Really tough.
Let me have that
And,
statement.
You know. you had
oh boy,
to-
add vodka to taste, I think is the correct
Yeah.
answer.
So anyway, but I would think
Good.
today's one, we're kind of rogue integrators or implementers, but we did the 2-day, but then we also do the quarterly, and then we do the weekly.
Well, you do the, so,
We're
let me ask
trying
you
to do it by
guys,
the book.
so let me ask you this question, so this is interesting, so, you implemented, you self-implemented, in your world, in doing that, what was the toughest muscle for you to build? Because I get I have seen a lot of muscles and people falling apart and having to rebuild them back up, and it's really fun. But what was that toughest thing for you to do in your journey? Because it's all about building.
We're still pretty early in the implementation, because we're really 6 months, 9 months into it.
Okay.
But
so what's been the hardest thing?
The day-to-day or the weekly checkpoints with our metrics and our rocks and
Well,
stuff.
I was gonna say, I mean, we only had one quarterly meeting in a year,
Yeah.
so we're not really doing them
follow through.
quarterly. Yeah. it's the
Well, but
follow-up.
we are this year though, because we have
We are.
we have strict annual, and this year we did we refreshed. So this year we have our quarterly rocks on each of our walls.
Yeah.
Each of us has 3 to 5 things that we absolutely have to get done this quarter, or the other guys beat the heck out of us or something like
You
that.
lose 10% of interest in the company. I think we talked about
Yeah,
that.
there's a penalty clause in the fine print there. But anyway, no, we're trying to,
It's the weekly
weekly,
pulse.
well,
We see
and
checking.
the pulse checking, but we don't have a lot of staff, so it kind of works for us, but.
So how
We
is
do
the-
we do 2 weekly pulses, but we don't really necessarily focus on EOS as much as we do just business overhead.
So how are you guys,
Overview.
on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being best, and all organizations have this, it's processing their issues, right? Processing
Well, the
problems.
metrics, having the scorecard, the metrics, that's really tough. It's our Mike's rocks for the quarter. We
Almost done, brother.
We finally know what rocks we want, for all the different metrics.
I don't know if you're answering the right question.
Yeah, so let me ask the
Yeah.
question differently. So on
Yeah.
the level 10 meeting,
Mhm.
if you remember, there's a strict agenda.
Yeah.
And everything is focused around smoking out your organization so that you process your issues. Because success in an organization is in direct proportion with you being able to solve your problem. Setting them up and knocking them down quick.
Yeah.
And that's realizing your vision. Is the sooner you get at building that muscle,
That's a good
successful
point.
people, successful organizations are just good problem solvers. So. and a lot-
IDS, we're not
How
really
are
at
you doing
IDS
it?
yet.
How-
Issues, discussion, solution.
Yeah, so how are you at it in a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd give us about a 1,
How about you guys? How would you
Well, I'd
think?
give us a 3 or 4 at least.
maybe 3 or
So
4.
what's the thing?
Yeah.
What is that thing? Because it comes up for different people a lot differently.
Well, I think it's just discipline of following the pulse check sheet every week. Because just the 4 of us,
Mhm.
a lot of times, and we have maybe 5 or 10 helpers, but we haven't implemented traction across the independent contractors yet.
Okay.
So it's really just the 4 of us. But still, I think the weekly pulse discipline, and say, okay, issues, discussion, solution. We kind of do it because these guys are good at it anyway. But I don't know, for me, that's kind of like getting the IDS stuff prioritized, and then also getting our metrics automated. We're almost there, actually, right? Pretty close.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen in organizations, all this stuff is very valuable. The tools of EOS are all cohesively used together is what moves the needle. But being able to process your issues without politicking, getting to the root of your issue rather than talking about a symptom, that allows you to really realize vision. And then setting your organization so that you're living in a 90-day world is also key. How about you guys? I mean,
Yeah.
how are you, if you were to quantify your issue solving between your organization, how would you?
It always gets done, but it's not systematized.
Yeah, I'd say we're pretty good and disorganized.
Yeah. So like it'll get done, but like maybe it'll get done 3 weeks late, maybe it'll get done that day, and then once it's done, do everybody else in the business know it's done?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and there might be something that Jimmy, thinks is a very big issue and it's high on his priority plate. And I have my own issues and priorities, and we're just doing them because we think this is in the best interest of the business. We're not necessarily on the same page at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the epidemic is this. I mean, the epidemic is that all organizations have issues, right? We all have problems. It's just the nature. But we're just crappy problem solvers. We don't get to the root of our problems. We don't systemize and cascade.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that is, and I agree, I
Yeah.
think a lot of that is just lack of communication.
It's huge. Yeah.
You guys need to get Slack. You guys have Slack?
We've tried Slack.
We haven't really tried it, but
You guys need to get all the
Do
people.
you need Slack and Podio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But Slack's an
100%.
app on your phone, man.
What was
You
the
don't
app
even need
you
it on
told
your
us to try
computer.
today?
Wait, what? The app for managing workflow and tasks and things like that I use personally. It's not an EOS endorsed thing, but
Yeah.
it's called Asana.
I've used Asana.
You like
Asana's
it?
great.
Asana's
Yeah.
awesome.
Where does Osana compare? Because I was like,
Asana's
Podio?
not like Podio though.
It's a task
Asana's
management system.
is a product task management.
Yeah, it's totally.
It's for like individual products or individual trying to think of
Individual projects.
projects, exactly.
Very
Whereas
powerful.
Podio is more customer relationship management.
Yeah, I think Podio is probably gonna be better for your business. I mean, just knowing
Yeah.
what other people in the industry
Now,
are
there's another
using.
one that I've used that's similar to Asana.
What's it called?
It's like the biggest one out there. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember.
It's like a one word, I think. I can't remember what it's called. But Asana is very, very similar. It's good. It's a good software.
It's good. I think it was created by Facebook, and I think, don't quote me, we could almost Google it, but I think it was created by Facebook as an internal thing for them to use to manage their tasks, and it just, the community just started using it.
Yeah, it was
We
one of
use
the
it
guys
in
that
my
worked there,
business
for
Azzur,
sure.
and we use it as a communication tool like you would not imagine. Everything from hiring people to managing the recruiting
And this
process.
is the one you can't remember?
No, Asana.
Asana, okay.
Asana, yeah, and we use it for managing.
Yeah, Zoho's a good one too. I don't like it nearly as much
So
as
what do
Asana.
all those do that Podio doesn't do?
I mean, what does Podio do that all those?
No, if I have Podio, why do I need Asana or Slack?
Slack's more like a communication
Yeah.
thing.
Slack is a bridge,
Database stuff,
is a
right?
bridge between text message, email, and I'd say that's pretty much it. So emails, you know that like somebody's probably not gonna look at it right away. A
Yeah.
text message, you're almost guaranteed to interrupt someone.
Podio tasks go into Slack?
No.
What's cool is you can create as many multiple groups if you want. So if you want to have one between you guys, one between 5 of you, one between 3 of you, you can create as many multi-groups as you want.
Yeah, so Slack, we have like a managers channel. So if I want to send something to just Dave, Bill, and Ray, send it to just them. If I want to send it out to the whole organization, I put it in a general one, and it's open. So you can have private channels.
Why
and
is that
public
better
channels.
than email?
Because emails get
Lost?
lost, looked over. I mean, Bill has 30,000 emails on his phone.
42 now.
It's much faster, so we can have it's a multi-level communication. So it's like you're having a group message where things are getting done really quickly instead of an email. It takes a long time, it comes back, and then you have to wait for everybody seeing it. It's like simultaneous. Like we'll all 3 be talking about something that needs to get done, and then Bill chime in with something that we didn't know, and then it'll just get done
Okay.
quickly.
Slack's kind of in between texting and emailing or something.
It's a bridge between
Okay.
the two.
I don't love it, but I use the manager's channel, but it helps.
It's the only one he pays attention to.
So Brian, you gotta get to your flight, and Dave has to take his hot grandma out for
Hey,
4 o'clock
Your
dinner.
girlfriend's mom.
That's funny.
What?
Yeah.
You're getting roped into your lady friend's grandma?
Yeah.
Ooh, that
You're
might be
better than
serious.
that.
That's serious.
You're better than
Mother's
that.
Day, man. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Mother's Day was yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't see her though.
All right, well, Brian, and
Brian, how can people get a hold of you? How can we get you those 20 clients?
That's right. We got an ad of what, 13 more?
Thanks so much. This has been fun. This is really great. I really appreciate the time. This is really cool. I hope I can be a part of another one in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best come in.
Is
And
there
when,
a way to
when the
get a
DCI
website
guys
or-
hire you and become your 8th client.
Well, you got a free testimonial here because I had no idea you were talking about traction today.
Yeah, I'd
So
love
we
to.
use it, we love it.
That's
It's going to
good.
help our business.
So how can people get a hold of you?
And Traction is a book, by the way. Did we say that?
I can actually get you a copy of the book. I wish I had more to give, but you can call me. I mean, you know, I could actually. I do a lot of help first. It's a very help first community. If you ever have any questions, just call me. I'll send you a tool, send you a couple tools. But if you want a 90-minute meeting, just give me a shout. And I'll
Is
do
there
it.
an EOS like Facebook group, like once you're in the organization?
There is
Okay.
a lot of LinkedIn profile. There's a LinkedIn group too,
Oh,
as
cool.
well. Yeah. If you go on EOSworldwide.com, you'll see me there. I'm in the process of really ramping up on my social media, but you can always call me or email me at brian@windswellcoach.com. So I can 909-714-3155. You can call me. But
Perfect.
yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah,
Really,
no,
this has
thank
been a
you.
lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
All right.
All right.
Thanks. Yep.
Thanks for listening to the Entrepreneur Drinks Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. We would also appreciate if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thanks for your support, and we hope that you learned something, had a few laughs, or at very least was entertained by our shenanigans. We had fun, and we hope you did too. Until next time, cheers.